Welcome to Reinventing Capitalism, a space where tech, social entrepreneurship, and impact intersect. We hope that you will get inspired by founders that are having an impact while making a profit. I'm your host, Claudia Thomas. Today we have Maria, co-founder of Sharpay, a company that offers rental, lease-to-own, and subscription options for customers. Maria has been an entrepreneur 5 times prior to Sharpay, and she worked at the tech innovation team at BBVA, one of the largest banks in Spain. Maria and her co-founders have been listed in the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. They recently closed their 2 million pre-seed round, and they've all moved to the US to superhead Sharpay's expansion. In this conversation, we first delve into the problem that Sharpay is solving. We then move on to understanding Sharpay's offering, its business model, the culture of the team, their customer acquisition strategy, and the intricacies of founding a company with your brother and your best friend. We finish the conversation by discussing how professional sports influence your leadership style, and Maria gives us a glimpse into the future of the circular economy. Join us to explore how Sharpay is redefining how we buy and consume short-lived products. Maria, how are you?
Hi, Claudia. Thank you for having me today here.
I'm super happy to have you. We're here to talk about Sharpay, the company you founded just over a year and a half ago, which, just as a brief description, offers rental, lease to own, and subscription options for customers. But first, I'll obviously let you do all the talking. Let's dive into the problem. Tell us a little bit about the problem that you are addressing.
Yeah, so basically for me, the main thing and the main problem is that retail is broken. Like linear economies, contributing to a lot of e-waste. In 2030, is estimated to have like at least 82 million metric tons of e-waste in the world. So I think, this is like the main problem in the industry, all the waste that ends up in landfills.
What do you mean by e-waste?
Well, electronic waste is like
Okay.
our main focus. I would, deep dive into this topic about electronics in a minute. But yeah, basically like there's this problem associated with waste, and also at the same time, like people, consumers are asking for more flexible and sustainable ways to consume things. Like, I don't know where I'm gonna live tomorrow, so I don't want to commit to buy a car. I would rather pay as I go for a subscription. And that's the main goal of Sharpay. Try to build these products as services and try to help retailers bring their circular economy business options at checkout.
Before I ask a bit more questions about the company, this is not the first company that you found. So give us a quick overview of what led you to found Sharpay.
Well, I think crazy entrepreneur. Actually, all of my family are doctors, so I was supposed to be a doctor. I don't know how I ended up, having so many businesses. But yeah, I started my career in marketing, but I realized that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Actually, I founded my first company when I was 17. I sold it when I was almost 20. It was a parking app called Aparco, now known as Tel Park in Spain. It became a very, good company, and I learned so much during the process that I was like, I want to repeat this and I want to create new things. Actually, I'm super bad at drawing, but I feel like my creativity part of the brain, I use it to build new companies and to find problems that can be solved through technology. So yeah, I started my first business with Aparco. Then I was playing soccer with Lucia. It's actually my co-founder today. We started another business called the Eco Host. It was the first sustainable property management in Spain, and we started that real estate company. It really went really good, but COVID came and crashed the whole business. So that's when
Gosh.
we were like, we were putting so much effort into this. Actually, it was a side hustle because by that time I was working at BBVA in one of the biggest banks in Europe, and Lucia was working as a IoT consultant in Microsoft. So yeah, it was a very hard process closing the company and starting a new one. We decided to travel around the world. As we were traveling, we had the problem of, I need a second screen or I need a camera. and there's no option to rent it out. The only option that you have is like buy a camera and then resell it in Wallapop in Spain or a Facebook Marketplace in the US if you don't want it anymore. So we had this idea like, what if you could rent or lease, products for a period of time, then use it and then give it back. So that's when we went back home and we started Yak, our last venture. Yak was, we wanted to be the Amazon for rentals. And we started as a peer-to-peer rental marketplace, but we ended up being one of the biggest B2B IT rental marketplaces back home. And from that experience, we now are Sharpay because we felt all the pain points of building a rental business, and we didn't have the proper infrastructure to be able to make it successful. So that's when we decided and put the focus on Sharpay and move to the US. We moved to the US like 2 years ago. We didn't have the visa, so every 3 months we've been going back and forth. Finally, we are here with the visa and more than happy to to keep growing here in the US and also expanding internationally.
For sure. It's gonna be a new stage for you and for the company. So super excited for you and Lucia, that you both got the visa and this is gonna be a fresh start. So Sharpay, tell us a bit more. How does it really work? Which are the products that or services that you offer?
Yeah, so basically Sharpay is a new payment provider. So you can go to any website. We integrate with the actual product page of the retailer. So you, as Claudia, maybe you can go to GoPro's website, rent a GoPro instead of owning it. We have a financial partner who pays upfront all the product to the retailer. Then
Okay.
we rent it out to the end user. And at the end of the renting or leasing period, the merchant can recover their item for a residual value, and they can start their own pre-loved or second-hand market from their own channels. So essentially, we define ourselves as the buy now, pay later of the circular economy,
Okay.
making it easy for retailers to start renting, leasing, or subscription businesses at checkout and giving end customers, even though they are physical persons or companies, to rent items for the time they need it.
So let me repeat it to make sure that I understood it.
Yeah.
If I am Sharpay, there's a company that sells products, like for example, GoPro, and
Yep.
then we also have a customer. What the customer does is they rent the GoPro, and
Uh-huh.
you have a partner that buys the GoPro in full, and so the customer pays you, I assume, the rental.
Yeah. We orchestrate
Okay.
the payments
Okay.
between financial partners and the merchants and end customers. So there's
Okay.
like a golden triangle over there. But
Yeah.
that's the
Okay.
magic of Sharpay, because when retailers are used to, sell things. And when you rent or lease a product, you have to be aware of so many other things such as fraud, insurances, reverse logistics. So we enable this white label infrastructure
Yeah.
for retailers to be able to launch these type of services without, creating and developing the whole thing by
Yeah.
themselves.
And what happens if the merchant, so the GoPro, going back to the same example, doesn't want to buy it back?
Who, the retailer or the end
Yes,
customer?
the
Okay.
retailer.
So yeah, if the retailer doesn't want the item to come back, we have another partner who takes care of the second life of the product. So at the end
Oh,
of the day,
okay.
we have the whole infrastructure between financial institutions, insurance partners, refurbishers, logistic companies, and third-party marketplaces that resell the items.
Okay, super interesting. So that's why you focus on electronics.
Our main focus right now is electronics, but also we are seeing growth in other verticals such as furniture, baby equipment. It's also a great category also for the end customers, and gym equipment. Basically, every item that makes sense to rent out with a high AOV and
Mm-hmm.
it can be rented out for more than 6 months is our sweet spot.
Okay, so any product that can be rented for longer than 6 months. And like, do you see like higher demand for specific products? Like, I know you mentioned some, but I mean, um, do you see more demand for like maybe easy to use consumer products rather than, I don't know, like skis to ski or like a car, something that it's like
Mhm.
bigger and with higher value? Is there a difference
Yeah,
here?
I think it depends on B2C and B2B. In B2C, baby equipment is a great category for us because it makes so many sense, to rent a baby crib instead of owning it. It's like, okay, I have a baby, and then the baby
Yeah.
grows in 6 months, doesn't feed anymore in the baby crib, and you have like very big products, standing there at home. So for that category, especially in B2C, it makes super sense. But electronics in B2B makes a huge also makes a lot of sense, not only because of financial reasons, also because of tax reasons. Like if you rent instead of own by being a company, renting
Okay.
is a tax deductible expense, and you don't have to pay upfront, all these amount of money. So it
Yeah.
makes, I think, consumer electronics is an easier category for us in B2B than in B2C.
Yeah, okay. I get what you mean. So with B2B, like the use case would be like mainly offices or what's your approach when you sell to other businesses?
Yeah, basically any kind of business that needs IT. For example, a lot of gyms that need to be equipped correctly, and they need to access like a lot of like gym equipment, and you do a renting because you need the products to be insured, maintained, and every 24 or 36 months you have to renovate the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why also like renting is more convenient than owning when you're a business.
That makes sense. And how about your revenue streams?
Basically, our business model relies on the merchant, not the end customer.
Okay. Okay.
And so we have a SaaS fee that covers, like the proper installment and infrastructure of the SaaS. Plus, we take a commission per transaction from the merchant and from the financial partner who takes care of the upfront payments.
And what's your recurring revenue? Where are you guys at?
Well, we're aiming to close this year around 1 million ARR. I think we're doing great progress right now. But yeah, I think like our north metric this year is to finish with 1 million ARR.
What's the biggest client you've closed to date, and how tough was to close that client?
Well, at the end of the day, we sell to enterprise customers, and it's really hard to sell to enterprise customers. So we've been following this exactly for I think more than 9 months. We are about to close it, so I cannot disclose it yet. But it is a very big customer in the US in the DIY section, and they
Hmm.
are doing around 3 billion a year in revenue. So
Okay.
for us, it's going to be a massive deal, not only because it is a massive company, also because they have like 9 different brands, and we are aiming to operate in the 9 of them. It could be a game changer for us. So fingers crossed, hoping it goes well, and I can announce it in the next upcoming weeks.
That's a good point that enterprise sales take very long, much, much longer than any other type of client. What do you
Yeah.
think is the toughest part of working with enterprise clients?
Well, I think when you have the first meeting, you are like super excited. I'm speaking to Sony, I'm speaking to Samsung, of course. They are like massive customers, massive brands. But it takes so long to close the deal that I think the most difficult thing is keep you engaged in the conversation and keep the progress, and to be able to ping them, to remind them about you,
Yeah.
and so on. But yeah, for me, the strategy is try to combine both mid-market and
Hmm.
enterprise. That's
Hmm.
why we are trying to put a lot of effort in creating like these plugins for Shopify, PrestaShop, WooCommerce, enabling this mid-market to self-onboard, and then with the sales machine putting all our efforts in the enterprise world. But yeah, I think the best strategy is to try to combine both, because
Hmm.
enterprise leads take like, I don't know, almost a year to close. So it's
Yeah.
it's really hard.
And how do you acquire these customers? What's your acquisition strategy?
Well, right now, yeah, mid-market using plugins. We are now integrated with Shopify, WooCommerce, PrestaShop, and that brings us a lot of customers. We are
Hmm.
trying to be top partner of Shopify and PrestaShop at this point. And also like enterprise customers, I think it's like pure B2B playbook, outbound sales, me calling every single day to everyone, trying to connect, and use and leverage our investors network, people I know, communities. Communities is actually working really good for me. I I enter like women in retail community in Spain and
Hmm.
in the US. And by being part of those communities, people engage in trying
They
to
make
make intros.
introductions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's the way to go. You have to
Hmm.
keep pushing, you have to keep going to every single event, get to know people, ask for intros, and that's the
Yeah.
way to go in B2B. Have a lot of cocktails. At the end of the day, we are all people, persons, and I feel like we all want to create like these online personas and try to sell. But
Yeah.
myself, I hate a call email. Like, I
Yeah.
hate it because it's like I'm talking to someone I cannot put a face on. So I prioritize like real connections, going out,
Hmm.
having a coffee, and
Yeah.
having drinks. So I think drinks are one of the best strategies to close like big deals. So maybe I have to buy another lever at the end of the year. But
Hmm.
yeah, drinks and food, also coming from Spain, I think is a must.
No, I agree because when you go on a drink or when you are speaking to someone outside of the professional setting, then like everyone's relaxed and you connect at a more personal level. So if they
Yeah,
like
I know that's
you,
true.
then they are more likely to choose you over a competitor.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna tell this because it's funny that here in the U.S. there's a Spanish place called Tomino. It's like
Okay.
a taberna gallega
Hmm.
from Galicia, and I always try to get investors a meal with me at Tomino because for me, first of all, it's like my safe place because I know the food, I know the people there,
Yeah.
and then I meet people in my ecosystem, and
Yeah.
I can be the real me, and that's been a real game changer strategy in my how to raise funds in the US.
That's a really good one because you bring the people that you don't yet know to your comfort zone. So
Yep.
then like you can really show your true colors. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I drink a lot of Alvarinho, and that's it. That's the way to go.
Sharpay was founded in 2023, so you're still quite young. How much capital have you raised to date?
Well, we are announcing this week our pre-seed round, but I can already tell you we just raised 2 million pre-seed, so we are more than happy. We've
Congratulations.
closed with top VC firms in the US and Spain, and
Mm-hmm.
that also gives us power, to ask for these introductions in both countries. So yeah, very good investors, impact investors, non-impact investors. So we have everything in the table. We have, I think, our cap table looks very promising, and our investors are really helpful for us. And I think they're gonna make an impact in how we grow, and of course, the next step of Sharpay.
What's the experience of bringing both Spanish and American investors?
Well, I think it's a completely different game. Investors in the US, well, not investors, like here is all about vision, about your idea, and about go to market. We all have ideas, but how are you gonna put this into the market? What are you gonna leverage? What are gonna be your sales channels? And I think that's because this is a very mature ecosystem, more than in
Mm-hmm.
Spain. And in Spain, it's all about numbers. And that's also sad because when you're starting a business, your main focus should be, of course, growth, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to build a great product. And by being able to focus on product and then the go to market, I believe you have more chances of success in the US with that mentality than in the Spanish market. But that being said, in Spain, I think we have very good VCs. Actually, Ship2B is our
Yeah.
investor, and they are very focused in impact. And that's also good for our company because we are an impact startup, and they're helping us in terms of like setting these impact KPIs, how to show the world that we are an impact startup, and all this knowledge in terms of like impact, sustainability. They are sharing with us a lot of information that is very useful.
I was gonna ask you, do all investors ask for your impact metrics and KPIs, or only the impact investors?
Only the impact investors. But I think it's
Okay.
good to have both worlds.
Both, yeah.
Of course, sustainability has to match profitability because we are not an NGO, we are a business at the end of the day. By having, these two worlds combined and people asking for revenue KPIs, people asking for impact KPIs, I think our business model and also our strategies is compelling. But yeah, like impact KPIs are asked by impact investors.
That actually makes sense. But I wanted to double check just in case. How big is the team at the moment?
So we are 10. We are divided between the US, Argentina, Colombia, India, and Spain. So
Super international.
super international. Actually, I love it. Like people call us Benetton, you know, because you have so many nationalities mixed together. But that's also bringing very cool things to the team, not only
Mhm.
because we think completely different, because we can learn with each other and we can learn about what is cool in Argentina, what is cool in Spain, how to sell in the US, and having all that context I think help us build a better product and a global product.
For sure. So you don't have an office. Everything is remote.
Well, we have an office in Madrid and an office in New York,
Okay.
but we are a hybrid team, so we try to go back and forth between New York and Madrid. Me personally, I try to be also present in Madrid. But yeah, we like to work remotely, but having like a base point where people can go there and share, and like put time together, I think is also crucial to to create like these bonding streams and create a team.
I agree. What do you think is your strength at Sharpay as a company? And I guess whether if you think it will change now that you've finalized your raise and you will have other priorities.
Well, you have to always be racing. But yeah, I think we are a super strong team. Not only because the three founders, we are Julian is my brother, Lucia is my best friend, and we have been building things together before. And also when people see the three of us together, they are amazed about how balanced is our team. But yeah, I think one of our strengths is like the founding team.
Hmm.
And then we have very passionate team, very young team, but they're willing to, put everything they have into Sharpay. They feel Sharpay as their own company. I think this is a really important point when hiring. And also they share our vision about, a world where everything could be rented out and you essentially create like a better world by using Sharpay.
I was gonna ask exactly something that you've anticipated, which is how does it feel to work with your family? Because as you said, you founded your company with your brother and one of your best friends.
Yeah.
And I always wonder whether if one is not scared of jeopardizing the relationship.
Of course, family is family, but in this case, I have a very special relationship with Julian. We are four siblings. Julian is the middle one, and this is my second company alongside Julian. So
Okay.
it's not the first time, working together. But also, I feel like by building something with your brother, you have some extra points because I can speak directly, super transparent to Julian, but at the end of the day, he's my brother, and I love him more than anything in the world. And of
Hmm.
course, sometimes I have to put the business in front of my brother, and of course, sometimes we want to kill each other. But as family, we are very very vulnerable with each other, very transparent, and we work our asses like every single day to prove our parents that being a doctor is not what we wanted, and that being
Yeah.
an entrepreneur could be a thing in our family. And also in the case of Lucia, I've been working with Lucia for so many years. We've been playing soccer together since I was 12, Lucia was 14. So we've been, fighting in the soccer field and outside of it. So it's more than a partner for me.
Yeah. So she seems also like your sister. And it's true that whoever has siblings knows that the relationship between siblings is a very honest one. Like you would
Yeah.
always tell your siblings what you think. So I think on that front, it's definitely something very positive. Would you change how you give maybe some like constructive feedback to your brother versus, I guess, normal employee?
Well, I think I'm definitely much harder with Julian than any other employee in the company. But now I think we have a very good practice. We have these one-to-ones, Maria versus Julian, and we
Okay.
speak about not only the thing is like we spend so much time together at work, we ended up not speaking about anything else rather than work. So I
Yeah.
realized this like, okay, I'm I'm doing a lot of harm to my relationship with my brother
Yeah.
because I cannot speak with him about how he's feeling, about I don't know, like how are you with your girlfriend and so on. So I decided to put these one-to-ones in order to speak of
About personal stuff.
everything outside the company, and it's working
Wow.
out really good. It is during work
Work
hours,
hours. Yeah.
but it's helping us a lot. So yeah, very useful if you
I
work
love
with your
this.
brother.
I had never heard that, and it's a very good way to protect your time with your brother. So I'm really happy that you found this workaround.
Me too.
Can can you share some data on the impact that the circular economy is having on the planet?
Yeah, well, I have very big number. It's estimated that the circular economy, resale, renting, leasing, is going to be almost $1.5 trillion by 2030. So it's a very big number. And
Hmm.
actually, we have another great number in our business, especially in our business. If we can extend around 8 to 9 months the life cycle of any product, we can reduce about 20 to 30% the carbon footprint. So that's our end goal, being able to, extend the life cycle of any product by rotating it.
Hmm.
And I think it is a very good number in terms of like how we think the impact we can make in the future.
When you say by that by reusing it, you can reduce the carbon emissions. You mean the carbon emissions of the production of one item, or how does the calculation come into place?
Well, the thing is, when you are producing an item, you are, contaminating a lot. And by rotating the item, you provide this item not to be landed in any landfill. And by extending the life cycle of the product, you are aiming that another person has not to buy a new item. So, okay, instead of, buying more things, you are utilizing all the already made products
Yeah,
that are in the market.
yeah, that makes sense. I wanted to congratulate you for making it to the Forbes 30 under 30 list.
Thank you. I'm about to have 30 in a couple of months. So
So it was by very little, by very
yeah,
little
almost one
margin.
year.
You
Yeah.
don't look it. So I think
Thank
you're
you.
good on that front. How has it been for you being on that list, and what has changed both for you and the company?
Well, Forbes is Forbes, and it gives you a lot of credibility, not only for investors or partners and customers, also with other entrepreneurs. And of course, we are very happy to be on that list. But the end goal of being in that list is creating credibility for the company. So yeah, in terms of like PR, it has been a great thing. But I don't know in terms of like the next, like for me, Maria, I'm proud to be on the Forbes 30 and the 30 list, and also because I'm sharing the list with top entrepreneurs and creative people in Europe. Actually, we were featured in the Europe list, retail list. That's a huge, accomplishment. But let's see in the future if it brings something else.
I'm sure it will. As you say, it's the reputation that you've built for yourself, and only for being on that list, you already have like a mark from very relevant and well-regarded people from the industry. So I have no doubt that good things will come from that.
Yeah, for me, it's more of a we are in the right path of building
Yeah,
something meaningful, you know?
yeah,
It's like we are taking into account because we're building something great and big and with impact in the retail industry.
yeah, for sure. And it's super nice to know that now it's not a founder's idea, but rather you have other people that also believe in it.
Yeah, sure.
This podcast aims to give visibility to the intersection between business and impact. And we aim to inspire talent to work for these types of companies. What matters most to you when it comes to hiring?
Well, I would rather not hire like superstars because it hasn't worked for us. I prefer hiring people with passion, driven by the impact that they can make at Sharpay. I don't need people who knows everything. I need people that are willing to learn fast, that are committed to, working long time hours, to building great things, and also that believe in Sharpay as their own company. As I told you, like this is crucial. And also in our stage, we are like a family, like we are 24/7 together. We need to see what works, what doesn't work. We have to put
Hmm.
so much effort in going from 0 to 1 that
Hmm.
is really important to feel this as your own thing.
What do you mean that hiring superstars hasn't worked?
Yeah, I think it's right because in the stage that we are trying to, hire an ex CMO of one of big companies in Spain, in this case, or in the US, and they don't know how to work in such a small company. So for me,
Okay.
instead of like focusing on spending thousands of dollars in hiring these rock stars, of course, maybe when I reach like Series A, Series B, I need this type of talent. But right now, in the stage that we are, I prefer young, talented people with a lot of passion rather than
Hmm.
people who knows a lot and
Hmm.
they're willing to work super. They don't want to work and they're not
Yeah,
putting so much effort into this
I know
than
what you
people that
mean.
are willing to do it.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and it's a powerful message for this talent that wants to make the transition, because it means that if you are really passionate about solving an impact or a social problem, then it means that you will be able to make it. Like as long as there's that passion of wanting
Yeah,
to
sure.
make the world a better place, and then there's a spot in the world for you.
Of course, I think combination of both also when we grow. And I'm not saying that hiring like senior talent is not a good thing for us. Actually, we have Felix in our team. He's like 60-year-old right now, and he brings so much value to the
Mm-hmm.
C-level team with all his experience. But he's really
Mm-hmm.
passionate about Sharpay and about or what we're building. So yeah, I think the combination between experience and passion is the best to look at when you hire.
You used to be a professional football player, and of course, now you are a team leader. I was wondering how your experience as a leader in the football field is shaping how you are as a leader in the professional field.
Yeah, I do this like comparison all the time. I believe that, well, I used to be the captain of my football team. Well, here in the US soccer, people, will kid me if they hear me. But yeah,
Yeah.
basically, I was the captain of my team, and I feel I translate the same leadership skills to the business world because I was a defender. And, if the company wins or if the team wins, even though I didn't score a goal, everyone wins. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my type of leadership. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
very passionate, very creative, very hard worker, but very mission driven. That our ultimate goal is score a goal. And
Mm-hmm.
pace becoming the norm when you're thinking about renting or leasing an item.
I have one last question for you. We have a tradition in this podcast where I love to pick up brains of the leaders of the industries. So I would love for you to imagine that you're looking into a crystal ball that shows you the future.
Cool.
What do you wish to see, or what do you think that will happen in the world of the circular economy in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think the world is transitioning into a better place. But in 5 to 10 years, I see the retail industry as a combination between one-time purchases and flexible options such as renting, leasing, and so on. Actually, 74% of the Gen Z are willing to pay for experiences rather than ownership. I think
Mm-hmm.
that shift in consumer behavior is already happened. And in 5 to 10 years, we're going to see it even more. And also in our business, I think governments/regulation is really important. And in the EU, we're already seeing these new laws to be able to, recycle and helping us essentially in the circular economy to bring more value to the industry and also to the planet. So yeah, how I envision the world is in one side, all the government regulating all these like verticals like electronics, fashion, and so on, that are the ones who are creating all this waste. And in the other hand, people or consumers asking for more flexible ways to consume all these products.
Thank you, Maria. Now we have actually gotten to the end. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you
Thank you.
all the best in this new stage of Sharpay and this new stage of you in the US.
Thank you, Zoya. It was a pleasure.